It's 9 o'clock on the dot. I'm Jeff Malinoff with your top stories. Right now, that weather forecast is 76 degrees. It's going to get a little hotter later on the day. That forecast in traffic in 5 minutes. The man accused of plotting to assassinate Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump on a Florida golf course this month has a hearing scheduled for today. ABC's Jim Ryan tells us what's been learned about the suspect.
In preparation for today's pre-detention hearing, prosecutors have compiled a 10-page document detailing Ryan Wesley Ralph's movements in the days leading up to September 15th. That's when he's thought to have positioned himself in a tree line alongside a golf course where Donald Trump was playing. A letter Ralph left with a friend months ago began, "Dear World, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump." The note appears to assume that Ralph failed and offers $150,000 to the person who, quote, can complete the job. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
The Israeli military today saying they were conducting extensive strikes on Lebanon in a video message. Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari warning residents of southern Lebanon.
The IDF will engage in extensive precise strikes against terror targets which have been embedded widely throughout Lebanon. We ask residents of Lebanese villages to pay attention to the message and warning published by the IDF and heed them. This is an advance warning for your own safety and the safety of your family.
Market numbers report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcn.com. Right now, the Dow is down, S&P 500 is up, as well as the NASDAQ is up right at the opening bell. This is Jeff Malinoff. Traffic and weather next. I'm Jeff Malinoff, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good morning. It is 9:04 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN with Mason running the board. We're in here early today.
Yeah, we're just kicking.
We're rocking.
Vibing.
Mason's producing. Jeff's in the newsroom. We got a banger of a show for you today. Very excited to get into all of it. Did you guys see the new ad that they're running during NFL games on Sunday?
No.
Yes.
So I didn't see it live. You saw it live, Jeff?
It was pretty cringe.
Oh, no.
Are you talking about the Trump ad or the Kamala ad?
I was talking about the Kamala one. I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, I didn't know there was a Kamala.
There was a Kamala one that was pretty bad.
Well,
We all held our breath.
The Trump one was actually pretty good. It's also cringe. When you think about this is what Democrats actually believe in. This was the ad they were running over the weekend.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I mean, that is an ad that you run during NFL games if you want to make guys wake up to what the left is doing.
Yeah, that's
That was pretty good.
I was here for Sunday Night Football, and I had an eye-opening experience.
Honestly. And then this stuff is actually happening in real life. The California Department of Corrections, they're going to give a sex change operation to 10 convicted criminals, one of which was a baby killer.
What? Wait, so I do have a question on that then. Does that give them the ability to move to a different prison, or do they go off their born gender?
So they would be in the female prison.
So they do get moved.
Yeah, or they're there already. So this, and I misspoke. It wasn't California. This one was Indiana.
Okay.
A federal judge has ruled the state of Indiana must cover the cost of her gender transition surgery. It's a guy going to a woman.
Yeah.
But they got to use the right right pronouns. The ACLU filed a lawsuit claiming the murderer had been subjected to cruel and unusual punishment. You killed a baby, dude. Like I actually would rather the cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, I think they're the cruel and unusual ones.
They had previously denied his request for the surgery. In addition, he also now identifies as a Muslim and is demanding to be allowed to wear the hijab wherever he goes.
I don't think the Muslim religion would allow the surgery either. Just a hunch.
We'll have to ask them.
It's going to be a long conversation.
All right. So formerly known as Jonathan C. Richardson, this guy in Indiana was serving a 55-year prison sentence, and they keep using the female pronouns, and I refuse to, for strangling his 11-month-old stepdaughter to death in 2001. And the way that this individual described the victim in this crime is just absolutely heinous, using curse words to describe the child. And this is what they're going to mark as a big victory. In fact, ACLU's Indiana's legal director, Ken Falk, said in a statement, "Today marks a significant victory for transgender individuals in Indiana's prisons." So you can strangle an 11-month-old baby, and then you can get gender reaffirming care. This is why Donald Trump runs these ads during NFL football games, because this stuff is actually happening.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I have to admit, that is one of the best lines in any political ad I've ever heard. Kamala is for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. This guy in Indiana that killed an 11-month-old baby by strangling it, that is now getting a taxpayer-funded sex change operation. He's got a wish list: vagina, breast implants, brow lift, reduction, a tummy tuck, gluteal implants, a uterus transplant, hair removal, wigs. This is fine. That's what they want us to know. This is fine. That the judge in the case didn't give him everything. He only ordered the twig and berries to be removed. And this guy is in a men's prison and could be out as early as August 2026, and still remains at war with prison officials over wearing the hijab. Absolute insanity, brought to you by the left. This is insane. This is what Kamala Harris believes in. The Trump team is right to sink their teeth into this and run this ad during NFL games. 100%. Although it's like, I don't know about you. You ever watch sports if you watch sports these days or not? I haven't watched really any NFL. But sports, man, you can't get up and use the restroom anymore during the commercial breaks. You never know what your kids are gonna see. And this commercial, as honest and as much as it cuts through the noise, it's just another example of that. It's like you can't watch anything normal with your kids without being forced to deal with the left's insanity. You just can't. You just can't. So that's an ad that Trump's running. On the flip side, the left keeps making their own ads for Donald Trump. And Kamala Harris did it inadvertently. So did Tim Walz. This is Kamala Harris talking about mass deportations.
Now they have pledged to carry out the largest deportation, a mass deportation in American history. Imagine what that would look like and what that would be.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm already voting for the guy. I'm already voting for the guy. You don't have to sell me. You don't have to sell me. Tim Walz did essentially one of his own versions of that.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Right? they don't mean to do it, but that's how it works. We can't afford 4 more years of this.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I love the hard cut. I am the Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
So good.
Who put that line in the teleprompter for Tim Walz? Who? I would like to know. J.D. Vance was in Pennsylvania over the weekend, and he was talking about how everything has gotten more expensive under Kamala Harris, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all.
It's not just grocery prices. It's everything is more expensive in this country. Americans cannot afford to live a good life in this country because of Kamala Harris's policies. It's crazy. Now think about this. Donald Trump and I believe in a very simple principle, that if you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to be able to get ahead in this country that all of us love. Isn't that simple?
It seems simple enough, yet it's become increasingly difficult under the Harris regime.
That is right, man. That is the American dream. And you know, one of the most critical parts of the American dream is being able to afford a home.
Can't do that under Kamala.
And right now, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, homes are skyrocketing. Mortgage interest rates are as high as they've been in a generation, and a lot of young Americans feel like they cannot afford a home in this country, and I think that's disgraceful. One of the reasons why we got to get Donald Trump back in the White House is because we want young Americans to be able to afford to own a stake in this country, and they will when we get Donald Trump back.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think that wages are going to go up for everybody. We're going to bring some manufacturing back home. We're going to get this economy back on track with Donald Trump. Kamala Harris will address these problems in a roundabout way. Ooh, groceries are so expensive. One of the ways I'm going to get costs down is by getting costs down. That's what she said during the Oprah interview. This is what we get from Kamala Harris and the left. They'll acknowledge that prices are too high. They'll acknowledge that home ownership is too expensive, which I guess is a step in the right direction, but they never acknowledge their own part in the problem. Kamala Harris was the deciding vote in the Inflation Explosion Act. The deciding vote. She's the reason. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about how the influx of illegal aliens into this country by the millions have actually cost us so much money. They've cost American citizens jobs. They've cost American citizens taxpayer dollars that could have gone to other programs. They've cost us so much. And then you look at small towns like Springfield or Aurora, Colorado, and you see the cost of the illegal immigration there. J.D. Vance made that point as well. Small cities being overrun and overwhelmed by Kamala's open border policy.
This immigration and border issue every single day, because I've seen in the small town of Springfield, Ohio, or here in Pennsylvania, there have been cities, small towns that have been overwhelmed.
Yeah, Charleroi, Pennsylvania in particular, their school system has been completely flooded with Haitians. And now in some of the younger grades, the Haitian non-citizen students outnumber the local Pennsylvania students.
With migrants who are brought in by Kamala Harris. And we know exactly the story. We know that it leads to a stress on local services. We know people can't get into hospital or to the doctor's office. We know that schools don't educate children as well. And we know that it means higher housing and higher grocery prices. That's what Kamala Harris's open border does to small towns and big cities all over our country. But here's what really bothers me about it. It's not just that they've made people's lives worse with this terrible open border. It's that they're going to call you bad names if you dare complain about it.
Yeah, they do. They call us bad names for complaining about it. But I think what J.D. Vance does there, which is so on point, is that he makes the argument that these two issues, the cost of living in this country and the wide open southern border, they are not separate of each other. They're actually very much intertwined. And you can make that argument. But normally, if you make that argument, they're going to call you a racist, they're going to call you a bigot, they're going to call you names, and they're going to shut you down. See, it always comes back to censorship with the left, and it has to come back to censorship, because without the censorship, well, then they can get what they want done. They can push their agenda. And you know, they'll say, you got to tone down the rhetoric. You have to tone down the rhetoric. But the rhetoric is tied into this as well, because the rhetoric can be toned down. Like, we can all agree to tone it down, but there's only one side trying to censor the other party from speaking.
And so our message to Kamala Harris and the Democrats is, we're going to keep on complaining about your policies, because this is America and we have the right to speak our mind.
We do. But I mean, we've been playing with the algorithm. Like, you mention any politician's name, you get way less views. Way less views. It's insane. And that's the censorship industrial complex. They don't want any truth getting out at all.
And our message, our Semper Fi, sir, our message to Kamala Harris is very simple. We are not bad people for thinking that you should not flood millions of illegal aliens into this country.
Amen.
We are not bad people for thinking that the drug cartels shouldn't be allowed to bring fentanyl into our country. You are not a bad person for having the courage to defy Kamala Harris and say no more of this garbage. Kamala Harris is a bad person for letting this happen to our country in the first place.
Absolutely right. J.D. Vance absolutely on fire there at a rally in Pennsylvania. He's been fantastic on the campaign trail. Just 100%, just home runs all over the place. Taking any interview that'll come his way. He'll go anywhere they need him, and he delivers a very strong message every time out. Every single time. He did it again over the weekend with Tucker Carlson. He was doing, Tucker's been doing these live shows around the country, touring around. And again, he brought up the point that, Kamala doesn't want you to be able to speak. She doesn't want you to have your ideas spread about. She doesn't want that. In fact, JD says that the thing that makes her the most angry, and the leftist elites in general, is when just an average guy like you or me has the audacity to say you're doing a bad job.
There is nothing that pisses off America's leadership class. There's nothing that angers Kamala Harris more than when a working class person in the heartland of this country complains about what a bad job she's doing. And when you think about this charge that our leaders constantly make, they'll say, well, you don't want 20,000 low-wage migrants showing up in your town. You don't want to be evicted from your home to make way for 4 Haitian families who, by the way, are violating zoning laws to live in this house. You're a racist.
Yep.
That's what they'll say. Now think about this. What they're really doing is saying you are not allowed to speak up about our leadership screwing up. And when you realize this is the game that they play, I mean, look, you and I agree with this. I think we should genuinely endeavor to look at every human being as a child of God, whether they're black, white, brown, or anything else. I think that is an absolutely good principle.
100%.
But I think that when our leaders call working class citizens who have almost no power in America in 2024, when they call them racist, it's not because they're trying to call them to some higher meaning. They're not trying to convince them to be more compassionate to their fellow man. They're trying to silence them and shut them up. And when you realize that our leadership is willing to take the compassion, like what's best in us, that we love our fellow man and we love our fellow Americans, and use it as a weapon to silence people people, you realize that Kamala Harris and everybody like her, it is a disgusting game that they play, and we have to reject it.
Yeah. He's absolutely right. This is a game that they're playing, and we have to reject it. But they're going to continue to demonize you as best they can. They're going to call you a racist. They're going to call you a bigot. If you dare to even go to something like a school board meeting, they may even call you a domestic terrorist. This is what we're up against. JD had a lot more to say about the migrant influx in small towns like Springfield, Ohio, and Aurora, Colorado. He destroyed the narrative that they're helping with jobs, and I'll bring you that clip on the way. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Now, when I get out of here today, I'm actually big hype. I'm heading down to the Glock store. Got a training session locked in for 1 o'clock today. It's my favorite place to train. It's the best place to train because every session is a private lesson. I learned more in my training sessions at the Glock store than I learned in all of my years training at a lane range. It's just completely different. Because,
this has been a big issue.
Because when you train at the Glock store, you're training in a private room, not a public lane. You have a private instructor there with you that can walk you through everything, and you'll learn a lot. I suggest that you train at the Glock store. That's where I do my training. And also, you can do a lot of things at the Glock store. You can buy your Glock there. Every Glock is in stock, and you can also party there. If you want to throw a party at the Glock store, whether it's a retirement celebration, a birthday party, or corporate team building, do it with the best at the Glock store. They'll give you a VIP room with a full kitchen, dedicated shooting rooms with instructors, shooting activities designed for every level, and they'll include all the ammo, even full auto options. Now, whether you want to get a party going to the Glock store or you just want to get yourself out there to train, call them today. They'll get you set up with whatever you need. 615-682-6565. Call the Glock store today. Again, whether you want a party or you want a private lesson, 615-682-6565. It's my place to train, the Glock store, everyone's place to shoot and party. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
United States ready for more escalation in the war in the Middle East. Also, a shutdown deal is reached in Congress. Those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jeff. It's 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're talking about J.D. Vance and him just doing an excellent job talking about immigration with Tucker Carlson. And he's doing these live shows. Tucker is all over the country. He's having special guests join him, and they're filling up arenas. And he had J.D. Vance. And they talked about Springfield, Ohio, accepting so many migrants. And J.D. just goes on to destroy the narrative that this is helping, because that's what they always tell us. They say, no, guys, this is a good thing. J.D. Vance doesn't really buy into that. And I know you probably don't either, but listen to what J.D. had to say.
This has been a big issue with some of the microscope that's been put on communities that have accepted a large number of Haitian migrants in the past couple of years. So in Springfield, Ohio, about 20,000. There's a community in Pennsylvania that I think has accepted about 2,500 in a town of about 4,000 people.
Yep.
So there are people who say that this is fundamentally necessary because unless you import all of these people, that there aren't going to be any jobs. And I actually think that sort of gets it exactly upside down. The reason why people left these communities is because our leadership shipped all of their jobs to Mexico and China and other countries. So if you want to fix the problem, bring economic prosperity back to our country. Don't bring 2,500 or 25,000 foreign laborers into small town America.
Yeah, exactly. Bringing more people in isn't going to fix that problem. Don't tell Kamala Harris, though. A newly resurfaced video from 2018 obtained by the Daily Mail shows Kamala Harris chanting alongside protesters and Jussie Smollett. Remember him? This is MAGA country. Yeah. She was chanting, "Down with deportation. Down with agitation. Down with deportation."
Down with deportation. Up with education. Down with deportation. Up with education. Down with deportation.
This woman's psychotic. She's psychotic. And just so you know, when she says that, it's because she means it. Donald Trump wants the biggest deportation event in American history to go down. I know that the majority of Americans support that. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, wants no deportation going down. She wants all these newcomers to become new citizens so that way they can vote. Maybe not in this election, but definitely come 2028. That's what she wants. We'll talk more about illegal immigration, the cost that it's having. Plus, John Fetterman weighed in on it, as well as Greg Abbott. We'll bring you both of those takes on the way. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 9:30. I'm Jeff Malinoff with your top stories. It's sunny, 78 degrees right now. It's going to get into the 80s, and the clouds are going to keep coming on. That forecast in forecast coming up. With the missile barrage by Israel this morning, the United States is ready for escalation to continue. Here's ABC's Martha Raddatz.
President Biden says his administration is doing everything possible to prevent a wider war, but a U.S. official telling me the table is set for escalation, that the Israelis are not listening to the U.S., and that what we saw here overnight is a prelude of what is to come. That is why we have seen the State Department warn Americans to get out of Lebanon while commercial means are still available.
Back here in the United States, Congress have reached a deal to avoid a government shutdown. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
The bipartisan measure is expected to avert a government shutdown next week and keep agencies fully funded through December 20th. It includes an additional $231 million for the Secret Service. But that money comes with strings attached. The agency must deliver to Congress its initial review of its failures in Butler, Pennsylvania, and respond in a timely manner to requests for answers and documents from House and Senate oversight investigators.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jeff Malinoff, WTN News.
Thank you, Jeff. It's 9:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We're almost at the end of September, so you only have a little bit of time to take advantage of this deal before it's gone. Buy one, get one on Beehive Club memberships for you and the grandparents in your life, as long as they're within the service area of Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, of course. But for only $99, you can't beat this deal. in AC and heat maintenance. You get 3 annual tune-ups, 1 for your cooling, 1 for your heating, 1 for your plumbing. 10% discount on all repairs. Priority front-of-the-line service. A $100 annual accrued replacement credit up to $1,000 max, and no overtime holiday fees. Again, this is for as little as $99. It's going to pay for itself immediately. When you have an AC problem, when you have a heat problem, call the guys that I trust, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They're your Rude Pro partner, and they guarantee your satisfaction. Call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. I trust Busy Bee. You can trust Busy Bee. Online at busybeehvac.com.
Yeah, and they're boasting about the fact that the numbers are down from the highs. I mean, at the highs, what we were talking about, 8,000 people a day coming through the border there in Texas. But those numbers are down. What we don't talk about is the fact that oftentimes they're down because this administration has decided to start flying them in, right? They're putting them on planes, flying them to swing states across the country.
That's Maria Bartiromo over the weekend talking about how immigration numbers are down, bringing up the very real observation that, they're not crossing the border illegally because Biden and Harris are flying them in. Yeah, fact check true. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Look no further than Springfield, Ohio, to confirm that story. 20,000 Haitians dropped off in a town of 60,000 people. Yeah. This is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing. They'll tell you that you're a bigot, you're a racist. How dare you notice? It's a good thing that it's happening. All of that, they will. But you know exactly what's happening. It's not a good thing. The town can't hold up to that. They can't keep up. Be it the resources for citizens that need it, the police, the ambulances, the hospitals, the demand for rent. The town can't keep up. It can't keep up. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott was on Fox News' Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo, and they discussed the ongoing migrant crisis and its impact on U.S. communities. And Maria Bartiromo made that point. Well, yeah, border crossings are down because they're flying them in. Yep, good point, Maria. Greg Abbott added more.
Well, you are true, but let's be clear about something else. So they're claiming that the numbers are down because of Biden's executive order in June. The reality is, because of action that Texas took, they began going down last year.
Right.
Because Texas represents 2/3 of the border.
I will add, Texas made those actions and were sued every single step of the way. No matter which action you want to talk about, they've been sued for it. Whether it was razor wire and Eagle Pass or if it was buoys in the Rio Grande, they have been sued ad nauseum.
Because we reduced illegal immigration by about 85% in the state of Texas. Of course, the border numbers are going to be down. But you mentioned something else that not enough Americans know, and that is another reason why the crossings at the border are down is because Biden is flying them across the border and then moving them to cities across the entire United States.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Biden and Harris are flying them across the border and moving them everywhere across the United States. I made the point about Springfield, Ohio. I mean, look no further than Springfield, Ohio. 20,000 Haitian migrants, as they like to call them, in a town of 60K. Now, while the Biden-Harris administration can fly the Haitians into Springfield, Ohio, usually in the dead of night, or as a lot of people on the super text line would like to point out, Manchester, Tennessee, they don't want you traveling to Haiti also. That's strange. Why wouldn't we want to travel there? Well, the Biden-Harris administration is actually warning Americans to not travel to Haiti due to risk of kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder. And due to that increasing danger, the U.S. government's and the U.S. government's ability to assist citizens in Haiti, it's a bit limited. So we can't go visit Haiti, right? I don't know anybody that would actually want to go visit Haiti, but just we can't visit Haiti because it's too dangerous, but we can import Haiti to Springfield, and that's totally fine. Are you following the logic here? Because there's not a lot of logic here. The U.S. Department of State issued a level 4 do not travel advisory for Haiti due to widespread crime, including kidnapping, sexual assault, murder, and ransom demands. The advisory highlights the country's deteriorating security situation, which has worsened since March when thousands of inmates escaped from two of Haiti's largest prisons after armed gangs stormed the facilities. Haiti's been under a state of emergency since then. I wonder if any of those people that got freed from those prisons made their way to Springfield, Ohio. You'd have to imagine at least some of them did. Because every country in South America, they're emptying their prisons and sending them up here. Why wouldn't Haiti do the exact same thing? So the State Department has urged U.S. citizens to avoid traveling to Haiti because of that crime, because of the civil unrest, because they also have a severely limited healthcare system. Kidnappings are rampant, especially with U.S. citizens being the victims, and some have been injured or killed. They say protest demonstrations and roadblocks are common and unpredictable. They often damage or destroy infrastructure and can become violent. Mob killings and assaults by the public have increased, including targeting those suspected of committing crimes, the State Department said. Due to the increasing danger, the U.S. government's ability to assist citizens in Haiti is severely limited. Local police also lack resources to respond to emergencies effectively within the country. So they can't respond to anything in Haiti. They can't deal with the crime. They can't deal with the insanity. But they can absolutely vet Haitian migrants and send them to Springfield, right? So it gives me a bit of a head-scratching moment, because this is when we're seeing a significant increase in Haitian migrants entering the U.S. because of the Biden-Harris parole program, which is allowing migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to enter the country if they have a sponsor. This is the same program that was shut down temporarily because of rampant fraud last August. Okay. Is everything fine? It seems like everything's fine, and we shouldn't harp on this too much or worry about it, right? It's just crazy. Oh, the diversity is our strength. Also, don't travel to where we're bringing all the migrants from, because it's very, very dangerous. Okay. Are you following along? Are you keeping score at home? I hope you're keeping score at home, because this insanity is just that. It is insanity. And Greg Abbott said on Maria Bartiromo, listen, if Harris is elected, well, then you can expect more of the same to be her border policy.
So you can expect what she's done as vice president. You can expect what she articulated when she first ran for president, and that is she supports eliminating illegal immigration as a crime. She supports giving magnet-drawing immigration policies such as free health care to people crossing the border. She believes in eliminating ICE. This would be the most destructive border policy ever, making Biden's border policy actually even look good. And so as bad as illegal immigration is already, it will be far worse under a Harris administration.
Yeah. Which is, it's actually scary to envision. It would be worse under a Harris administration. I take Governor Greg Abbott at his word. If there's anybody that understands illegal immigration in this country, it's that guy. And if there's anybody that understands how to stop it, it's that guy. And if there's anybody that understands the federal government's willingness to let it continue, it's that guy. Again, you've seen him sued every step of the way trying to solve the problem of illegal immigration, be it the buoys in the Rio Grande, the razor wire in Eagle Pass, wanting to make illegal crossing into the country a state crime. Every step of the way, they've been sued by the federal government. To say the federal government is complicit in the illegal entry of aliens down at the southern border, I think that would be a massive understatement. A massive understatement. But this is what we got. This is where we're at. Again, the Biden-Harris administration doesn't want you to fly to Haiti, and they also don't want you worried about flying Haiti to you. You keeping score? I'm keeping score. And every time you turn around, there's another crime with another migrant. This time, it's a Haitian illegal immigrant arrested for sexual assault in Massachusetts after being released into the U.S. under Biden-Harris. In 2022, Jefferson Jerome, 30 years old, attempted to enter the U.S. at a port of entry in Brownsville, Texas, where U.S. Customs and Border Protection apprehended him and issued him a notice to appear before an immigration judge. That's what they get. They get a I'll see you later ticket. Please come back. Well, he hasn't been back yet, and he's actually been arrested for sexual assault in Massachusetts. He was arrested on September 11th after being charged with indecent assault and battery. Jerome was first arrested by Border Patrol in 2021 after unlawfully crossing the border near Del Rio. He was returned to Mexico. In 2022, he attempted again, and that's when the Biden-Harris administration said, hey, here's your ticket to appear in court. Earlier this month, Jerome was arraigned in Dorchester District Court on charges of indecent assault and battery on a person over 14 years old. He was released under the pretrial conditions, including wearing a GPS monitoring device. ERO Boston officers arrested him immediately after his release from state custody. He's now in federal custody. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Jefferson Jerome stands accused of horrific crime against a resident of our Massachusetts community. The Boston Field Office Director, Todd M. Leons, said in a statement, "We will not tolerate the victimization of our neighbors. ERO Boston will continue to prioritize public safety by apprehending and removing egregious non-citizen offenders from New England." It does need to end. It does. And one of the biggest problems are the sanctuary cities. Donald Trump in North Carolina over the weekend making a huge statement. And it's crazy that this is a huge statement. But he went on record saying when he becomes president, sanctuary cities are done.
Today, I'm announcing a new plan to end all sanctuary cities in North Carolina and all across our country. No more sanctuary cities. Uncle Sam, do you agree? Uncle Sam agrees. I had a feeling you would, right? You're great.
There's always a guy dressed as Uncle Sam at a lot of these rallies. I've met the guy that he's talking to there. Nice guy, but he's quite literally talking to somebody dressed as Uncle Sam.
As soon as I take office, we will immediately surge federal law enforcement to every city that is failing, which is a lot of them.
Yep.
To turn over criminal aliens, and we will hunt down, capture every single gang member, drug dealer, rapist, murderer, and migrant criminal that is being illegally harbored. Every one of the top 25 worst cities are Democrat-run cities.
Yeah, and I would argue that the majority of them are sanctuary cities. And this needs to be handled. This needs to be ended. We need actual cooperation between our law enforcement agencies, and the sanctuary city policies don't allow that to happen. It makes deporting criminals very, very hard, very difficult. But it needs to happen. It does. And we've seen the cost affected with Springfield, Ohio, or Aurora, Colorado. We've seen what can happen when you don't have these agencies working together. When you can't deport the illegal aliens, when you're told that you just have to sit there and take it. It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. Now, will the Harris administration talk about any of this? No. And Governor Jared Polis was on one of the Talking Head shows over the weekend, governor of Colorado, and he was asked, why doesn't Harris talk about what the federal government is doing to help in Aurora, Colorado? His answer was surprising, and I'll play it for you next. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, here to tell you about my friends at United Structural Systems. Now, whatever you may need, there's a chance that USS can help you. Whether it's foundation repair, basement wall realignment, crawl space encapsulation, or waterproofing, they do it all. They do it all, and they've been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. They aren't going anywhere. If you work with the new guy in town, there's actually no guarantee that they'll still be around if you have a warranty issue. You don't have to worry about that with United Structural Systems. They're licensed and insured, and they have more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. You don't get 25,000 satisfied customers unless you're doing the right work, the right way, with the right people. These guys are not a franchise. They're going to come to you and create a custom solution to meet your needs, and you won't pay until the work is done and you're satisfied. That's the promise of USS, United Structural Systems. Again, 25,000 satisfied customers can't be wrong. Call USS today if you're having foundation issues, basement issues, waterproofing issues, or if you need crawl space encapsulation. These are the guys to do it. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
The suspect in the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump's motive has been revealed. Also, the White House sets a goal for the electric vehicle market. Those stories coming up at 10 a.m. on Super Talk and 99.7 WTN.
That's Jeff Malinoff in the newsroom running at 2 times speed. Super
Threw me off there.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Governor Jared Polis out of Colorado was asked over the weekend if the Harris campaign should discuss Aurora, Colorado more. I thought that was an interesting question. Why would you want them? Why would they want to discuss Aurora, Colorado more?
But the mayor of Aurora has acknowledged a special task force was established and said they're working with the federal government. It's a regional issue. Should the Harris campaign be talking about some of these real issues and acknowledging them in a way that might help their campaign?
Oh, she's saying real issues because the ones in Springfield are not real issues. Okay, now I'm following. So what's happening in Aurora is real. What's happening in Springfield is fake. Okay, well, no, they're not going to talk about Aurora, Colorado, because it doesn't make them look good with their open border policies. I don't know how you can make open border policies look good, but this is why they're not going to talk about it.
Because really, the answer is about that failed border bill in Congress. That's usually what the Harris campaign talks about. Should they acknowledge more of these real issues?
Oh, it's about the failed border bill. Oh.
Well, first of all, I think that's a legitimate and important issue to talk about. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, Democratic and Republican leaders in Congress, had a real bill before them to make the needed investments in border security. Look, I've been down to the border. I've been at border crossings. We need better border security. Kamala Harris will deliver on that because it's not a simple proposition. It requires investment, high-tech investment, fencing, scanning, more border patrol agents.
You could do all of that now. You're in office now, and this is why the Harris administration won't discuss it, because all the things that he's asking for, we had. Trump was building the wall. Biden-Harris ended the wall. Trump had Remain in Mexico. Biden-Harris ended Remain in Mexico. We can go on and on and on. There was about 93 executive orders day one that Biden signed to dismantle all the Trump-era policies, and then they bragged about it. But now they're saying, oh, if only we had just a little bit more. If only. Well, you could quite literally go to your office down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and shut down the border today. But they won't, because they want it wide open. That's just the facts. On the way, I do want to bring you what Donald Trump said in North Carolina over the weekend, plus the latest on that would-be assassin in Florida and what that letter said. Plus, get into some of your calls. I see Malika, Kevin, Claudia waiting on the line. We'll get to your calls next. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I'm Jeff Malinoff with your top stories. It's cloudy, 80 degrees. That full forecast in 2 minutes. In Florida, the man who attempted to assassinate Republican candidate Donald Trump justifies his failed attempt. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
A note attributed to Ryan Wesley Routh suggests the motivation of the 58-year-old whose rifle was found alongside the golf course where Donald Trump was playing on September 16th. He justifies the act of violence, saying the U.S. president must be, quote, kind, caring, and selfless.
In D.C., the White House has set a goal for electric vehicle markets for the next 6 years.
The Drive Forward Fund is aimed at automotive suppliers, the companies that build car parts. Its goal is to raise $1 billion from institutional investors and from Small Business Administration loans. Monroe Capital, the asset management firm that the White House has tapped to handle the new fund, says the automotive supply chain accounts for 5% of U.S. GDP. It all comes as demand for EVs has leveled off in recent months. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Moving to New York, in the Diddy investigation, new surveillance video shows Sean Combs being taken into custody. ABC's Aaron Katersky with more.
His lawyer said Combs had come to New York 2 weeks earlier with the intention of turning himself in. He did not expect the agents to be waiting at his hotel last Monday night. A day earlier, Combs seen out and about in New York with his family, seemingly in good spirits. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jeff Malinoff, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.10:04 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. You can listen to us anywhere you go with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app. You can watch us on Super Talk TV on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You can check the podcast after the fact on Apple, Spotify, and the 99.7 WTN app. I think I did all the things. We got another debate watch party happening October 1st, so next week. Yikes. Right? Next week. How did that happen already?
That's so fast. So fast.
Too fast. But October 1st, Hop Springs, Vance v. Walsh. We want you there for that. It's going to be
next Tuesday.
A blast at Hop Springs. Brian's going to be down there doing his show starting at 3 o'clock. Myself, Mandis Murphy, even Mason is going to be coming.
I'm going to be there.
It's going to be awesome. Jeff, are you coming?
I'm doing traffic up until 7.
Jeff is not going to be there.
I want to, though. I want to go to one of these things.
Speed out there.
I could haul. I could. As I check the traffic, I know how to get there quicker.
Yeah, I was like, all the traffic cheat codes. Just
traffic
just
cheat codes.
If you can drive as fast as you did the news tease a little while ago, you'll make it there in plenty of time. All right, I got a couple people waiting on the line, want to weigh in on some things. Malika in Nashville wants to weigh in on renting prices. Is that correct, Malika?
Yes, sir. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Am I going crazy? Or it's like, first of all, shout out to my apartment building in Smyrna. It's not their fault. It feels like everything is stricter. Like everything needs to be. We want to see the renter's insurance now. We want to see the everything that you're paying for electricity. It's not like it was before, where you just pay and just give your social security number. Everything's good. And they're all getting stricter because of Biden. And I'm sorry, that's my conspiracy theory. I'm not sorry. Go Trump. It will be better.
Are you dealing with any illegal aliens at your apartment complex?
No, I'm not. But I'm moving to Smyrna. They're asking us a lot of questions, like it's not their fault. It feels like it's getting more stricter. Do you understand what I mean?
Yep.
Like more questions at once.
Yeah.
And you need to have. And I'm a U.S. citizen, of course. I'm from Illinois, but also it's crazy that it feels like you need to have. I forgot how much more than you make so you can rent. Everything is going to get four rents more than. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is crazy out there, Malika. I hear you. I appreciate the call. Kevin in Kentucky wants to talk about gangs. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, man. It's good to talk to you again. So I just wanted to make 2 points. So I heard this morning on the Dan Manning show that they had this gang situation going on in Chicago where there could possibly be a gang war, with the Venezuelan gang and stuff. I used to work in the prison system probably, 7-8 years ago. I was living in Trousdale County. They built the prison. It was a quick job. Found out it just wasn't for me. But I had to study different gangs. I had to study what they're about, what they do, like what, all that stuff. And my concern is, and I also want to just get your opinion on this, if something was to break out up in Chicago with these gangs, that could spread just as fast as the migrants all over the United States. I mean, that could be a really bad situation. And I mean, obviously the elite, the government, the rich, they don't have to worry about that stuff because, I mean, they're wealthy and they're living behind their border wall in their mansion. And you would think that with all of the crime going on, obviously the government is just completely biased to what's going on. But you would just think common sense, like it makes you wonder, like, what are they possessed by? Like, what's wrong with their minds with all this crime? And, I hope I'm not going too far, but with the rape and just the really bad stuff that's going on, ankle bracelets ain't going to keep these people from making mistakes and doing bad things. A court date that's 6 months from now is not going to stop them from doing anything.
Six months. Try 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that they would be like, whoa, hey, we need to kind of step back and look at this situation and try to get a hold of it.
Yeah.
But they're just letting it go. And now we got this situation in Chicago where we could have a full-out, like, mafia-type war that is also going to get American citizens killed, possibly kids.
Yep.
All sorts of stuff that could go on there. Because I also know, I know how bad these gangs can be. And then the other point, they tell you not to come, like, what was the thing that you said about how they said, don't travel here, don't travel there. It's dangerous. And
there's the State Department. The State Department advised not traveling to Haiti. It's too dangerous. Yeah. But they can bring Haiti to us.
Exactly. It's what I was about to say. That is just absurd to me. Yep. But anyways, man, wanted to call you again. I called you the other day. look forward to hearing my voice more often, because when I get off of work at 7, I work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I usually get my stuff together, and then I got you on YouTube at 9 o'clock.
Man,
so,
I appreciate you, and respect to that third shift, man. That is a hard shift to do. So kudos to you, man.
Yes.
And I appreciate the call, Kevin. And to your point on on what Mandis was talking about with gangs, how it's like we're getting to a situation where it's going to bubble over. This has been brewing beneath the surface level for a while. Like this isn't something brand new. I was playing audio from a few months back. I mean, I want to say this might have even been 2023, where Chicago residents are saying illegals are forming gangs, and they're going to have to deal with it.
So I told y'all about what was going on in Chicago, and they took my video down. Why don't they want me talking about what's happening in the hoods across the country right now? They took my video down because I told you that they are forming gangs from these other countries across the hood in the U.S. right now. They took my video down because I said my friends are calling me and telling me that something is going on and that they are on every street corner all through the hood. And on that video, people in New York, in Colorado, in Phoenix are all saying that the exact same thing is happening. Why don't they want us to talk about that?
Well, they don't want you to talk about it because it's a bit inconvenient for the powers that be. This woman had a video that she posted some months ago, and it was immediately taken down. But there's so many stories like this. I remember hearing a podcast where there was a Chicano gang member in California talking about the illegal aliens.
All the immigrants coming at the borders, not the raza.
Right.
They're all Asian.
And I'm glad you said
that. They're
that.
from Sudan. Like, they're from different countries, homie, and these are all men, military-aged men. There ain't no women and children at the border. There's a gang of men that are my kids' age. I tell my kids all the time, hey, mijo, look at all these vatos that are coming right here. They're all coming right here. A gang of them. They're getting ready for something.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if that doesn't make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what will. Listen, they're all coming here. This is a gang member, a Chicano gang member in California, saying, I tell my son, they're coming here for something. They're getting ready for something.
They're all coming right here. A gang of them. They're getting ready for something.
Yeah. And I think we've all been waiting for the other shoe to drop on what's happening with the southern border. Whether it's gangs or terrorism or, a gray area that's in between, it does feel like we're waiting for something. This Chicano gang member had more to say.
I'm glad you brought that up because whenever we say the border, whenever we say immigrants, everybody's ignorance always thinks to, why are you talking about Mexican? Why are you talking about raza?
Yeah.
And it's not true, bro. Everybody's coming in.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It's the stupidest thing, too, for them to say, the majority of people that come over here or across the border is raza. No, it's not. It never has been. You think the raza down there is really trying to come to America for a better way of life? No. They only come over here because the currency is way higher. That's it. And to help the families down there. That's it.
Yeah.
The currency. That's it. If not, you think they're going to want to cross the border to come over here to this bullshit over here?
Right.
The fake ass food. You know what I mean? They got land. They grow real food over there.
Paging RFK Jr. even the Chicano gang members understands that there's poison in the food. But he says something that, it's true. You think they're coming over here for anything other than money? And who's incentivizing them to come? Who's incentivizing them to come? Well, it's Kamala Harris and it's Joe Biden. It's the Democrats. It's the sanctuary cities. It's the benefits. It's the EBT. It's the free hotel that you get to stay in. It's the free health care. We have magnetized the entire nation. Every major city is a magnet now. Every single one. Sean in Lebanon, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, sir?
Hey, Chris, good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you, too.
I heard the call about the gang. You're talking about the gangs in Chicago again, and I remember this broke about 3-4 weeks ago when they were saying that the Venezuelan gangs were trying to take over an area, 63rd and King Drive. You and I talked then. The people that are coming up, the migrants, illegals, have no idea what they're getting themselves into. Some of the worst gang wars that we had in Chicago dealt over some of the dumbest things between the rap music, the dope business. You would have gangster disciples fighting gangster disciples just because of somebody making more money on the drug sales.
Yeah, and to put a little context into this conversation, Sean is a retired Chicago police officer. He calls on the show quite a bit. Good guy. Continue, Sean.
So, when they were talking about the switches back then, a couple of weeks ago, that's just your street level stuff. I worked gangs most of my career up in Chicago, mostly on the west side. And, the armament that they have is unbelievable. At one point in the early 90s, we had a gang member in the Henry Horner projects over by where the United Center is now, was attempting to secure and purchase a handheld law rocket, which would be, for the dumbed down version, basically a bazooka to fire through the 11th district because the officers were doing such damage to his drug business. They have the ability to get the weaponry they need if this kicks off.
Yep. It's insane.
Whether it's Midwest or West Coast, all the gangs fall under one of two umbrellas. In the Midwest, it's either folks or people. West Coast, it's either Bloods or Crips. So when push comes to shove, and if this breaks out like a lot of people think it may, the Bloods and the Crips are going to align with their Midwest counterparts, and it's just like the Hells Angels supposedly going to Aurora, Colorado. They're going to put their BS to the side, and they're going to do what they need to do to protect their investments.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we've seen gangs react in that situation in Chicago with the Latin Kings during the Summer of Love. The Black Lives Matter protests came over to the Latin Kings neighborhood, and they said, no, turn around. Oh, yeah.
And the Hispanic, and I'm, the conversation is just dealing mostly with the black gangs. The Hispanic gangs, you factor in the, you call it the Bravo or the Brachismo. They're even worse. I mean, we had 13 people killed over a piece of fruit being thrown at a high school on the west side.
It's crazy.
So now you start putting into this factor of them feeling that they're losing control because of, even illegals, whether they be of Hispanic origin or not. It's going to kick off, and it's going to kick off big.
Do you think illegal alien gangs like a Tren de Aragua are going to find friends in other Hispanic gangs that are already in the country?
It depends on what they're going to bring to the table. Again, especially up in the Chicago area or some of the other major city areas, the Hispanic gangs are so entrenched in what they want. The Latin King, the Almighty King Nation, as they refer to themselves, they're not going to, in my sense, they're not going to be willing to negotiate anything with them. They're going to want to keep control of what they have. Maybe some of the smaller gangs if they're looking to make a name for themselves, but when you're going up against these entrenched, gangs from even the late 50s, early 60s, you have a sense of history there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, I appreciate your expertise, Sean. I appreciate you calling in.
Take care, Chris.
Hey, you too, man. Appreciate it. The gang stuff is wild. It's wild, but this is what you're going to get if you vote for Kamala Harris. This is what you're going to get. Donald Trump made that point quite clear in North Carolina over the weekend, talking about what it means if you cast your vote for Trump and what it means if you vote for Kamala Harris.
But if you cast your vote for Kamala Harris, comrade Harris, we call her comrade, you're voting for 4 more years of brutal job losses, higher taxes, surging prices, falling wages, and economic depression and despair. Other than that, you'll be doing quite well, I think.
Yeah, other than that, and the wide open southern borders, the rampant crime in our major cities, other than that, you'll be A-okay. Nothing to worry about. I'll bring you more from Donald Trump's rally in North Carolina on the way, plus more of your calls. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I got to tell you about my friends at Kingdom Fence Company, new sponsor of the show. Their owner, Dave, is such a good guy. You got to go see these guys over at Kingdom Fence. They want their fence to tell the story of your land. Now, no matter what kind of fence you need, they got you covered. Residential, commercial, farm, agricultural, chain link, privacy, vinyl, dog fence, pool fence. They do it all, and they do it the best. 615-390-5891. 615-390-5891. Kingdom Fence Company, LLC.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson speaks on the CNN report. Also, the UN General Assembly starting this week with President Biden set to speak. Those stories at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jeff. It's 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. Got a couple of people waiting in the line to weigh in with their thoughts. Joe in Gallatin, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Joe?
Hey, 9 to 12 is the best show, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
No. Yeah, 9 to 12, that's you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Checks in the mail.
Hey, look, if they, the powers that be, are planning on this gang war to happen, and it goes into an emergency kind of status, will that call off the election? Is that what they're planning?
I don't think. I mean, it would. I have a hard time believing that the election's not going to happen. I've heard talks.
If the National Guard was called in, I guess.
I mean, I don't see that happening. It would have to be something very extreme for the election to be called off. I just don't. I don't see that as a possibility.
Well, they're trying everything they can, I guess.
It wouldn't shock me if they tried. It would shock me if it went through, though, and we didn't have an election on November 5th. I think there's only one way.
Baby.
I think there's only one way that we wouldn't have an election on November 5th, but I don't want to say that way out loud because, I just want to keep praying for that man that he continues on. So I'm not going to say what way I think it wouldn't happen, but I think we all can kind of understand how it wouldn't happen.
Yep, I got you on that one.
Yeah. All right. Hey, man, I appreciate the call. It's funny you bring up the National Guard. Did you see what happened over the weekend? Transcripts show President Trump's directives to Pentagon leadership to keep January 6th safe were deliberately ignored. Yep, deliberately ignored. Committee on House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight Chairman Barry Loudermilk revealed that days before January 6, 2021, President Trump met with senior Pentagon leaders, urging them to do their jobs to protect lives and property. The transcripts show Trump gave senior Pentagon leadership directives to keep January 6 peaceful, including using the National Guard, which the Pentagon leaders ignored. The revelation directly contradicts the conclusions drawn in the flawed DOD IG report on January 6, 2021. Trump wanted the National Guard there. The Pentagon leadership ignored him. Chairman Loudermilk said in a statement, Pentagon leadership prioritized concerns of optics over their duties to protect lives. President Trump met with senior Pentagon leaders and directed them to make sure any events on January 6, 2021 were safe. It is very concerning that these senior Pentagon officials ignored President Trump's guidance and misled congressional leaders to believe they were doing their job when they were not. The DOD's IG report is fundamentally flawed. It does not draw conclusions from the interviews they conducted, but pushes a narrative to keep their hands clean. We have many questions for them, and we will continue to do the dig. Yeah, many questions indeed. This won't stop anyone on the left from using the January 6th narrative. No. But, I mean, this is stuff we all essentially knew anyway. But this is what he's up against. And I don't understand why they don't want this guy in office. In North Carolina over the weekend, he explained to them what voting for Trump means.
When you cast your ballot for Trump this November, it means that America's borders will be instantly secured. Can you believe what they've done? What they have done to our country with millions and millions of people walking right through our border. It means the price of household goods will start to plummet. Groceries and rent will no longer break your budgets. And you will have thousands of dollars of savings by the end of the year. Let me just tell you, we're going to get your energy costs down in 1 year. We're going to get your energy costs down by 50%. We'll cut it in half. We're going to cut it in half.
I mean, I would take 25% right now, but I believe the guy when he tells you that. And if you can cut the energy cost by 50%, the ripple effect in the economy is going to be massive. But he didn't stop there.
It means the streets of your cities will be safe and clean. The homeless encampments will be gone. They're going to be gone. Oh, you have to see. You have to see some of these encampments, what they've done to our cities. And we've got to take care of the people, but they're destroying our cities. And instead of a planet on the edge of global war, we will have world peace. We won't have World War III, which we're very close to having right now. That's the future that awaits the America that we love under President Donald J. Trump.
Sign me up. Sign me up. November 5th can't get here soon enough. On the way, I'll bring you more of what he said from his North Carolina rally, Donald J. Trump. Also, he got a massive endorsement at that rally, which we'll play for you. And Kamala got an endorsement as well. Equally as massive. Not sure it's equally as positive. We'll play it for you next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 10:30. I'm Jeff Malinoff with your top stories. The weather right now, 82 degrees. Going to get a little hotter. That full forecast in 2 minutes. North Carolina and Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson campaigning today in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. He commented on the recent report by CNN, which alleged Robinson made racist comments online from 2008 to 2012.
We're in talks right now, everything up to legal counsel to take CNN to task for what they have done to us. We are going after them. Okay, we are going to go after them for what they've done. But we have 5 weeks left in this race, folks. Make no mistake about it. We are not going to let CNN throw us off of our mission.
Over 140 world leaders will descend into New York City this week for the UN General Assembly. U.S. President Joe Biden is expected to speak. ABC's Lindsay Tuckman has more.
Now, this week's proceedings began with a summit, actually, between assembly members to approve a so-called Pact of the Future. On that note, also expected to speak this week include Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. All leaders whose nations are currently amidst crises, really likely to dominate conversation for the assembly.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jeff Malinoff, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
This message is for Oprah Winfrey and all. A vote for Kamala Harris means 40 or 50 million more illegal aliens will invade across our borders, stealing your money, stealing your jobs, stealing your life. It means your police forces will be gutted, your guns will be confiscated, and savage criminals will run wild in the streets. So that's what it means. You know what? That's what it means. You know, she's always said, we will confiscate all guns. Now she's saying, oh, no, guns are, I think they're wonderful, right? Doesn't work that way. They're going to confiscate your guns. I'm the one that's protecting it. We got the total endorsement of every gun group, including the NRA, and we have protected your Second Amendment. And if you think it was easy, it was not easy. If Kamala Harris is reelected, she will kill the American dream forever. She's not competent to be president either, but I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude. She's not competent to be president. Did you see her on Oprah? That's not going to be.
That's Donald Trump in North Carolina over the weekend. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN 1037. I'm Chris Hand. So did you see her on Oprah? Did you see her on Oprah?
Did you see her on Oprah? That's not going to be.
That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. I saw her on Oprah. I know you did as well. Oprah, man, that's not playing well currently online and in some of the black community. Not playing well at all. Whitley Yates went on MSNBC to discuss that Oprah Winfrey appearance that they did, the live stream, the live stream that they did. And she says it doesn't connect the same way. You have a nice studio appearance. It's not a town hall. They tried to make it seem like a town hall. But you have this studio appearance with a billionaire who doesn't feel what the average American citizen feels after 3.5 years under Kamala Harris. If you missed this, Whitley Yates was just on fire on MSNBC.
Come on. I think that there were times during that interview where it looked like Oprah was trying to figure out where VP Harris was going. And I think when we're looking at this circumspectly, when we're talking about battleground states and talking to working everyday Americans, utilizing a billionaire who's not dealing with the cost of inflation, with stagnant wages, with stagnant industries is really just out of touch. And I think that's what he really meant to say, is that hiding behind Hollywood as opposed to really just talking about the policies of your administration may not be working specifically in battleground states.
That is literally rich, Whitley.
Thank you. It's wealthy. It's wealthy. It's wealthy. It's wealthy.
Rich man. Come on.
So they're pushing back. Like, what are you talking about? People love billionaires. And there's another woman on the panel who tries to say why this woman, Whitley Yates, is wrong for thinking that an Oprah interview just doesn't connect.
Well, think here. So Oprah is one of the only people who has been able to have an audience of 20 million people for over many, many years. So I mean, she is a professional here, and she does have an audience, and she knows how to coordinate or how to appeal to wide audiences. The second thing is I'm really tired of all the surrogates and Donald Trump and the JD Vance all saying this. That's not what the candidates are saying. That is not what they're doing. They're insulting people personally. They're being mean. They're being really vindictive. They're not sticking to the issues. And if they were sticking to the issues and saying what you think they mean to say, we'd be in a much different race. But they can't control themselves, and they just need to be mean and vindictive. And that's not winning them the independent voters.
Well, definitely.
Oh, they're being mean. They're being mean, and they're not winning independent voters. I only noticed one candidate being shot at by one set of supporters. They're being mean.
I don't need a history lesson on Oprah, who's Black history, because I'm very familiar with all that she has done. But what I'm saying is, when you're talking to people specifically in a state where the average salary is $49,000, bringing a billionaire up on stage is going to present out of touch, specifically for working class Americans. And let me explain why. It's because the issues that they're talking about does not impact her the same, as opposed to having working class people maybe engaging with her, maybe a town hall forum. She has been utilizing celebrities to promote her campaign as opposed to utilizing working class people or utilizing them to speak to working class people. And there is a disconnect.
Yeah, there is a disconnect. 100%. Now, this was streamed, this Oprah interview this was Thursday night. It's got about 2 million views on YouTube, from the Kamala Harris page. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it at all. I mean, again, the Trump Elon got to 27 million views. Let's see, the Trump Theo Vaughn interview, that has 13 million views. Just, if we're going by numbers, you can see that the American public don't really even want to watch it. But to her point, Oprah is not affected by what average Americans are affected by. When we're talking about the gang violence happening in places like Aurora, Colorado, how American gangs are going to be responding to that, Oprah's not going to be worried about that. Not one bit. Not one bit. And there was another video going viral over the weekend, a black female who has a message for Oprah Winfrey and you celebrities for Kamala.
This message is for Oprah Winfrey and all you celebrities and stuff that you bought on your TV so that people could listen to lying Kamala Harris and all that. I want you all to trade places with a woman like me. I'm not middle class. I'm low income. I want y'all to trade places with me. I want y'all to put me and my family, me and my son is facing eviction because people want 3 times the rent and I'm low income. I want y'all to swap houses with me, swap cars with me, swap lives with me, you celebrities that want people to continue to be in their situation that they're in where y'all don't have to worry about it. Y'all don't run out of gas. Y'all don't have to check y'all bank account. Y'all lights don't get cut off. Y'all not on food stamps. So you celebrities, shut the hell up. Oprah Winfrey, you sit your tail down somewhere and have some sense. Stop being ignorant, you Democrats. We're out here suffering. Y'all don't have to worry. Y'all return home to y'all $10 million mansions and y'all $5 million bank account. Trade places with me and then tell.
Trade places with me and then tell me. I think a lot of Americans feel the exact same way that woman feels. You're not worried about putting gas in your car. You're not worried about your lights getting cut off. But so many under the Kamala Harris economy are worried about that. So many are. But hey, let's just keep going with our Kamala Harris Oprah interview. Right? That'll resonate with some people. What? I don't know why they did this interview. It misses, and that's the best way to put it. That's the best way to put it. It misses. Now, one of the clips from that Oprah Kamala interview that took the internet by storm was this one.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that. But my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah.
My staff will deal with that later. So funny. So funny. This is from the woman that wants mandatory gun buybacks. This is from the woman who's on video saying that she's allowed to go into your locked home to make sure that you're handling your firearm responsibly. This is that woman. This is from the woman who says she wants to ban all assault weapons. Sure, yeah, that's this woman. John Fetterman was asked about those comments that Kamala Harris made over the weekend. Fetterman was on, this was Meet the Press, I believe it was. And on Meet the Press, he's asked point blank, was it irresponsible for Harris to say that she would shoot someone breaking into her house? Which I think the question on its face is absurd. Like, no, that's not an irresponsible take, but quite the question for John Fetterman.
I want to ask you about something that Vice President Kamala Harris said this week. She was talking about gun ownership with Oprah Winfrey. She said, quote, if somebody breaks into my house, they're going to get shot. You, Senator, are a gun owner. As the leader of a party that prides itself on advocating for gun safety, was it responsible for Vice President Harris to make those comments?
Was it responsible?
Absolutely. I think the vast majority of Americans, if you had somebody breaking into your house that might be there to harm you, you probably have the right to shoot them. And I think that's a vast majority of Americans would agree with that.
Yeah, no, you know what? I agree with that. I do. I agree with that. But what Kamala said at the end.
Probably should not have said that. But my staff will deal with that later. Yeah.
What she said right there, my staff will deal with that later. Apparently, they didn't get the memo to Fetterman in time because Kamala's staff is cleaning that up. A Kamala aide says she was joking. She was just joking about shooting an intruder. What? She was joking. Oh, okay. Harris campaign advisor Keisha Lance Bottoms said in response to the viral moment, it was a joke, and she knew that we would still be talking about it today. Then she added, I think it's important that people know that the vice president respects the right to bear arms, that she supports the Second Amendment, but she wants responsible gun ownership, and she wants our communities to be safe. Yeah. So that just another inauthentic moment from Kamala Harris. The campaign that's been filled with inauthentic moments. On the flip side, the Trump campaign has been filled with tons of authentic moments. Real moments that you look at and you go, wow, that was a pretty cool moment. And he had another one of those at his rally over the weekend in North Carolina. In North Carolina, while he's up on stage, Donald Trump gets what could be his biggest endorsement yet.
Also have it, I alluded to it, a very important member of my family, far more important than Eric or Laura. And her name is Carolina, and she's beautiful, and she's sweet, and she doesn't know how evil life is. She hasn't experienced it yet, but she does know how great life is, and we want to make life great for everybody here, and we're going to do that. Can I ask Carolina to come up? Is that possible? Carolina, she sat on my lap during the Republican convention. Go ahead, you shout it.
Make American great again.
Oh.
So good.
That was great, honey. Wow. Thank you. What a good
job. The thing that I love the most about that is in the background, you can actually hear Grandpa Trump come out.
That was great, honey.
That's that guy. That's who he is at his core. That, you know, on the flip side, Kamala Harris has also gotten an endorsement. I don't know if you want to brag about this endorsement, but it's an endorsement nonetheless. There's an IRS-affiliated union that has come out and endorsed Kamala Harris. Yes, the IRS Agents Union endorsed Kamala Harris. You would have to imagine that they must not like her, right? Like, why would you come out and say that? Have you ever met somebody that's pro-IRS? Is there anybody that is just like, man, I'll tell you what sealed the deal for me voting for Kamala Harris. When that IRS endorsement came through, that was huge.
I don't even think people who work for the IRS like the IRS.
The IRS Agents Union has endorsed Kamala Harris. It tells you everything you need to know about her, does it? Doesn't it? Yeah, it does. On the flip side, Donald Trump, the granddaughter was sweet. It was nice. I think it was a cool moment. But he actually did get a major endorsement, this time from a Muslim Democrat mayor. What? Yeah, Donald Trump got an endorsement from a Muslim Democrat mayor. This is the mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan. This is the only majority Muslim area in the country. And the mayor, Amir Ghalib, the Muslim Democrat mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan, has endorsed his campaign for president against Harris. He said, I was very impressed with him, and he was a very big fan of the Trump administration because he saw no wars outside of defeating ISIS, and that's why he likes the guy. He said that Trump is the guy for the job. A Muslim Democrat mayor. Wow. That one blew my mind. That endorsement hits a little bit different. Again, this is the mayor of Hamtramck, Michigan, who's also a Democrat, a Yemeni immigrant. He represents one of the biggest Muslim communities in Wayne County, Michigan. The population is close to 60% Muslim. And Ghalib was one of the leaders of the effort to get Muslim Democrats to vote uncommitted against Biden earlier this year. He's now become the face of the Abandon Harris movement. And I think this really just is a credit to Donald Trump. Because Trump isn't out there saying free, free, free Palestine. Trump is out there saying we need peace. Kamala Harris is calling for ceasefires and for hostages to be released. But nobody believes her when she says it. Nobody believes her. Trump, on the other hand, he doesn't have to be pro-Palestine. He's just anti-war. And that's enough for this guy. Amir Ghalib said, I talked to President Trump about, some statistics here in Wayne County and how it used to be a stronghold for the Democrats, and we always used to vote Democrat. He said, this is not the case anymore here. If you hear that ringing, that's the alarm bells in the Democrat Party. It's 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Got a manhunt underway one state over, and a letter from the second Trump assassination suspect coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. On the way after Ken's newscast, I'm going to dive into that letter too. Why would they release it now? I have my thoughts. Real quick, Claudia in Nashville has been patiently waiting on the line. Wants to get a word in. What's up, Claudia? Thank you for holding.
Yes, I just want to encourage everybody to vote in this election because it's important. I'm a Christian woman. I am going to vote for Jesus. I am encouraging all Christians out there to vote for Jesus. If you don't know who Jesus is or who Jesus is for or who is for Jesus, you need to find that out because that's what we are. It's our responsibility as Christians to do the best for Jesus.
Yeah, I agree.
He's
So
at us.
with what you're saying, Claudia, which candidate do you think is the best fit?
Oh, Donald Trump. No, hands down.
I'm with you, Claudia. 100%.
But you know what? In the Bible, Isaiah 45 was Cyrus. When the Israelites were in Babylon, he sent them back to rebuild the temple. They still know Cyrus's name in Israel today because he did that.
I hear you.
So we can do that. We can do that.
I appreciate the call, Claudia, and thank you for holding as long as you did. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Alabama, officials looking for the gunman who opened fire on a crowd of people Saturday night, killing 4, wounding more than a dozen others. Stephanie Ramos in Birmingham.
Police are on the hunt for multiple suspects who they say fired into a crowd in a busy entertainment district in Birmingham, Alabama, killing 4 and injuring more than a dozen. It was around 11 p.m. on Saturday. Police racing to the city's historic 5 Points South area near the campus of the University of Alabama at Birmingham, finding at least 21 victims.
There's new evidence in the case against the man suspected of trying to kill former President Trump at his golf course in West Palm Beach earlier this month. Stephen Portnoy.
A letter in a box said to have been dropped off at a witness's house several months ago reads, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you." It's the strongest evidence yet of a motive as federal prosecutors aim to build a case of attempted assassination against Ryan Routh. Prosecutors say cell phone data shows Routh was near Mar-a-Lago and Trump's West Palm Beach Golf Club multiple times in the weeks leading to his arrest.
House leaders in our nation's capital unveiled on Sunday their new legislation to avert a shutdown at the end of the month and fund the government until December 20th. A bill extending government funding is expected to be on the House floor on Wednesday. Karen Travers has reaction from the Biden administration.
The White House is urging swift passage of this proposal to fund the government through December 20th, saying the short-term bill will keep the government open and give Congress more time to complete full-year funding bills. The short-term extension includes $231 million in additional funding for the Secret Service, aimed at helping the agency with its needs during this election cycle.
Appalachian High School students in Winder, Georgia will return to class this week for the first time since a deadly shooting earlier this month that claimed the lives of 2 students and 2 teachers. The school hosting an open house today for returning students and the families. Here's Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith at the event.
On September the 4th, our community was brought to its knees. Unfortunately, our most vulnerable were attacked, our kids and our teachers in this building behind us. But what evil did not plan for was the resiliency and the strength that they have.
Section of the school where the shooting occurred will stay closed. 14-year-old Colt Gray has been charged with murder in this case. His father also facing second-degree murder charges. And the approach of cooler weather is luring hundreds of millions of birds in North America to head for a warmer climate to the south. Jim Ryan says many of them aren't going to make it.
By the millions, migratory birds like these warblers head north in the springtime and south in September and October. but they face literal obstacles.
Every year, hundreds of millions of birds are estimated to die in building collisions.
Julia Wang is with the Birdcast Project.
One of the factors involved in building collisions is light pollution.
Initiatives in cities nationwide urge high-rise owners and managers to shut off the lights overnight to keep the birds from getting confused and crashing into the buildings.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We got a lot to get to. A lot. Ryan Routh, the would-be assassin of Donald Trump in Florida, in a letter that's been released by the DOJ, tells the unknown recipient of the letter that he failed them. I failed you. 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Routh, the alleged would-be assassin in Palm Beach on September 14th, allegedly left a note with a friend making it clear his intent to kill former President Donald Trump. Forbes reported the handwritten missive is also allegedly an admission that his attempt to do so had failed. The note said, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster." And then he added something that is very, very wild, especially that they've released this letter and it's out there in the public. "I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job." What? This has now been released by the DOJ, right? These same government officials, these same government entities who said we couldn't see the Nashville Covenant School shooters manifesto, right? But we're allowed to see this. I find that just a tad bit odd. Why did the Biden DOJ released Trump's assassin's $150,000 reward to complete the job letter to the public. Why would they release that? It seems a bit insane. And it seems like something that could rile up those that are a bit insane. Since his arrest, the initial charges against Routh have been gun-based. Breitbart News reported that he's a felon, barred from gun possession, yet he possessed an SKS rifle on the perimeter of Trump's golf course. ABC 11 reported prosecutors have levied 2 charges against him, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. And they released this letter that says $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Insane. This is insane. Jack Phillips over at the Epoch Times reports that law enforcement officials were contacted on September 18th, or 3 days after he was arrested, by a person who said that Routh had dropped off the box at his location months prior to the incident. The witnesses opened the box after learning of Routh's arrest, finding ammunition, phones, and various letters. Prosecutors said the note and other evidence found at the scene show a need for Routh to be detained while the government builds its case against him. A detention hearing is scheduled for today. I think he's already in court in Florida. They go on to write, because the facts are offered for the limited purpose of supporting the United States request for pretrial detention, the facts in this written proffer do not set forth all of the information and evidence known to the United States in this ongoing investigation, the court documents state. Prosecutors found notebooks with dozens of pages filled with names and phone numbers pertaining to Ukraine, discussions about how to join combat on behalf of Ukraine. He wrote that the former president ended relations with Iran like a child, and now the Middle East has unraveled in one of the documents Routh did, according to court papers. He also wrote, everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, knows that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less the U.S. president. U.S. presidents must, at the bare minimum, embody the moral fabric that is America, and be kind, caring, and selfless, and always stand for humanity. This guy was an unhinged lunatic with what looks like a lot of connections. Cell phone records from 2 of the recovered phones show that Routh traveled from Greensboro, North Carolina to West Palm Beach on August 14th. Prosecutors wrote, multiple days and times from August 18th to September 15th, Routh's cell phone accessed cell towers located near Trump International and the former president's residence at Mar-a-Lago. A cell phone that was recovered by authorities showed a Google search of how to travel from Palm Beach County, Florida to Mexico. Federal officials also found a list with dates in August, September, and October, as well as venues where Trump had appeared and was scheduled to appear, prosecutors say. During his court appearance last week, Routh declared that he had no assets and only owned 2 trucks worth $1,000. In a 2023 book that apparently was written by him, Routh also wrote that he had no bank account and no retirement savings. This just gets more and more suspicious every single day. They need to go through this guy with a fine-tooth comb. And I don't trust the DOJ or the FBI to be the ones to do it. I'm grateful that DeSantis is stepping up and they're doing their own parallel investigation in Florida, because this guy, suspicious is like the nicest way to put it. Posts made by Routh on X and other social media sites show that he was an avid supporter of Ukraine and the ongoing Russia-Ukrainian conflict, even posting images and videos of himself in Kyiv and other areas in Ukraine since the war started. Which brings me back to what Matt Gaetz said last week. At the end of last week, Matt Gaetz went on Breitbart News Daily, and he said that there are 5 assassination teams operating within the country. 5 of them. And he says that 3 of them are foreign in nature, and they have ties to Ukraine, Iran, and stop me if you've heard this before, but Ukraine? The same guy that Ryan Routh has ties to? Yeah, that one.
When they entered the country, there was insufficient scrutiny to stop them from doing so, right? I mean, the 3 of these teams are foreign-inspired, from my understanding. Iranians, Ukraine, Pakistan, and, the work is obviously challenging to protect protective detail like a presidential campaign that is vigorous and out campaigning. But, the concern that this person brought to me, and we're still investigating it, is whether or not, given this threat environment, you've got the right sniper teams, the right tactical teams, that when you are having a movement of the campaign, that you've engaged sufficient local law enforcement and that you've got other resources. And, we've seen a few times where resources have been pulled off of the Trump detail for the Jill Biden detail or for the John Bolton detail. And we're going to question whether or not that was sound given what we knew about the efforts to kill Trump.
And what they knew before the second assassination attempt was that there were at least five assassination teams in the country, 3 foreign in nature, 2 in domestic, with ties to Pakistan, Iran, and Ukraine. And this guy, we get his letter today, Ryan Routh. $150,000 to whoever can finish the job. Interesting. I wonder what the Florida investigation is going to be able to iron out about this guy's connections to Ukraine. How high do they go? Rick in Franklin wants to talk about the letter. What's up, Rick?
Hey, how are y'all today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing all right. So basically what our government has done is let the contract out on their political opponent. Does that sound about right?
I mean, it's hard to say that without any other information, but it certainly is worrisome that they would put this out there, but we can't get documents relating to the Covenant school shooting. That's a bridge too far. But somebody saying, hey, $150,000 to whomever can finish the job, that's perfectly fine. That's not going to incite any violence. It seems like bad judgment at best.
Let's look at it another way. If I'm just, average Rick on the street of Franklin, and somebody says, hey, there's a $150,000 contract out to whack so-and-so, and I go see somebody and say, hey, there's a $150,000 contract out if you whack this guy right here, am I part of the conspiracy?
It would seem so.
Yeah, well, it seemed like our DOJ is, too.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with you, Rick. I appreciate the call. Phil in Nashville, you're next on Super Talk 99.7. What's up, Phil?
Yeah, I'm just curious, how long you think before the Democrats start a fundraiser to raise funds to match the initial donation to finish the job?
Jesus, I mean, honestly, it's crazy out here. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. They're trying everything they can to get rid of him. Right? They've impeached him twice. They've gone after him through lawfare. They've tried to assassinate his character, and he's survived 2 assassination attempts. It's insane. And then at the same time, we've had this weird pivot with Kamala Harris, where now she's really hyper focused on another debate. The internal polling numbers must be terrible for the Democrats. Did you hear what Kamala Harris said over the weekend? She stopped to talk to reporters on the tarmac as she was getting off her plane, and she sees the reporters. She goes over there to talk to them. And she says, guys, I want another debate.
Well, you probably heard I would like another debate, so I'm hoping the former vice president will agree to that. But we have a lot more to discuss.
I'm hoping the former vice president will agree to the former president. Yeah, you will be the former vice president. She wants another debate. She wants another debate. She's not the only one saying this. Kamala campaign spokesperson Michael Tyler, he's also trying to bait Trump into another debate.
But then he said, he doesn't need what he would call a rematch because he felt like he won that last debate against Harris.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I mean, listen, I think we've been very clear since the debate on September 10th that the American people deserve to see what they saw on that debate stage once again before they cast their ballots on October 23rd in Atlanta. And listen, it would be unprecedented in modern American presidential history for the 2 candidates who are running to only engage in one debate. So we believe that the American people deserve to see that. Donald Trump himself he said many things when it comes to debates, but he's famously said he's willing to debate anytime, anywhere, any place. He thinks he won both debates. So he should have no problem showing up to show off his prowess once again on the debate stage. And we think that's what the American people deserve to see. There have been more updates since the last debate, right? As the American people begin to tune in and understand the stakes of this election, we see it playing out in states like Georgia, where we have the first confirmed preventable death due to Donald Trump's abortion ban. So there are still questions that the American people have for these candidates that they want to see us debate on the debate stage. And so if Donald Trump is willing to show up on October 23rd, that's what the American people will see.
Oh, yeah. There's already been a confirmed death because of Trump's abortion bans, which is just the biggest joke that there is. There was no confirmed death because of a Trump abortion ban. There's no such thing as a Trump abortion ban. Georgia has their own laws, as all the states are now allowed to do. And a woman took abortion medication, and then she later passed away because of complications from it. Like that's not a death because of a Trump abortion ban. But to their conversation on a debate, Trump doesn't need to do another debate. Trump doesn't need to do another debate. Not at all. Harris needs to do another debate. Harris was calling for another debate immediately after they left that last debate. And Trump responded to it then. Post-debate, he responded to the calls for another one.
Why won't you commit to a second debate with Kamala Harris if you believe
a second debate because she lost tonight very badly. So they immediately called for a second debate because they lost. So we'll think about that. But she immediately called for a second. Look, we're looking at polls. We're looking at polls. The worst poll that we've had was 71 that I see, 71% to like 24 or 25%.
I mean, so those calls were there immediately following the debate. But here's the thing. She could have had more than one debate. Trump offered a Fox News debate. I believe it was a CBS debate that he also agreed to. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. But we're going to watch this pivot happen in real time where they're going to go back to Trump is scared. Trump said he would debate anywhere, anytime. I don't think he needs to debate. I don't. I think we got our next debate, which is going to be Tim Walz versus J.D. Vance. We're going to see a lot on that debate. I can't wait for it. Vance is going to mop the floor with them, and I think that's going to be the end of debates. I don't think Trump needs to debate Kamala Harris again. I think everybody knows everything they need to. Also, for the J.D. Vance-Tim Walz debate, October 1st, Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We're going to be there live.
It's going to be hype.
It's going to be so good, man. Brian's going to start doing his show out there right at 3 o'clock. Then myself, Mandis Murphy, even Mason is going to be coming. We're going to be out there rolling deep, watching the debate with you. It was a blast last time. We're going to do it all again. I'm excited. Fox Nation might even be there.
Maybe. We got the velvet rope and everything.
We have velvet ropes. We have safe spaces if they need them. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So if you're trying to figure out what to do when it comes to your investments and retirement planning, you're not the only one worrying about this, right? It's an election season. What happens if Trump wins? What happens if Kamala wins? It does feel like a lot of things are up in the air. And no matter who you talk to, everybody's saying different things. This is why I recommend you talk to Paul Winkler and his team at Paul Winkler Inc. They're going to be honest with you from the jump, including when I do these commercials. Paul wants to make sure I tell you I get paid to do them because he wants to be honest from the jump. I like that a lot. And I like what Paul's team brings to the table. They've worked for the investing banks, the insurance agents. They've been the people who sell investment products. They all came from that side of the industry. So they can tell you about what really goes on that side of the industry. You know, if you worked for a car company, you're going to say that your car is the best because you want to sell your car. Well, it kind of works the same way. Paul and his team can break it down for you and tell you exactly what they're going to tell you and some real advice that'll actually make your future a lot more sound and secure. Give Paul a call to set up a complimentary consultation. You're going to learn more than you ever thought possible and get a clear picture of how they can help you. 615-851-1950. That's 615-851-1950. Or you can hit up his website. They always have free information there for you to learn and get a jump on everything from the get-go. PaulWinkler.com. That's PaulWinkler.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, They want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Got some road work right now that is affecting traffic going eastbound on 40, trying to get off at Donaldson Pike. The off-ramp there is going to be delayed due to that road work. American troops are on the move. We'll tell you about it at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's 11:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Saw a weird video, just so cringy. Josh Shapiro and Zelensky touring an artillery shell factory in Scranton, PA, and Shapiro is autographing the artillery. With Josh, from Josh with love. What?
Hoping to make an impact in your life.
Yeah.
From Josh.
Right? Yeah. This one hits different. Love Josh. Yeah.
Hope business is booming.
Oh, jeez.
Too much.
I just don't understand why. Why would you want to hang out with Zelensky? Let's give away more money. Let's do that. Hey, all right. So we've had a texter who oftentimes disagrees with what I say, and I always invite him to call in. And today, Jeremiah has decided to call in. Jeremiah in Cookeville, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me what you were telling me on the line. You said you're a big pro Kamala Harris fan, and I guess I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around why.
I wouldn't say I'm a big Kamala Harris fan. Before Kamala got into it, I was what you call a double hater. I wouldn't vote for Trump or Biden. And I've called before and I said I would vote for anybody but them two. And now there's somebody besides them too.
But what about Kamala Harris makes you think that she would move the country in the right direction?
I could tell you more why I think Trump will lead us in the wrong direction. After January 6th, I was a never Trumper after that, and I believe he tanked the economy when the pandemic happened. I believe he caused the inflation that we're having. And also his tariffs. His tariffs is just going to really hurt the economy more if he does what he says he's going to do.
Why didn't the tariffs hurt the economy when he was in office?
Because at the time, I'm not an economist, but it took time for them to really kick in, and it's really just a sales tax. It's all tariffs are.
So why hasn't Biden and Harris removed those tariffs?
Because I believe Biden probably don't even know that we have tariffs against China. He probably ain't been paying attention much.
So why hasn't Kamala Harris stepped in and got rid of him with the 25th Amendment then? If he can't even wrap his head around the tariffs.
Well, I believe she ain't going to do that because of loyalty to him. She probably should do that.
But
I agree, Biden.
But if she's willing to let a vegetable stay in office,
yeah,
then she can't be the right choice for the country.
I still think she's better than Trump because Trump will try to do anything to stay in power. After January 6th, I really believe that if he gets elected in, like he said, there won't be any more elections.
Did you know that transcripts were released over the weekend? This was on September 20th, so this was Friday. Transcripts were released that showed President Trump met with senior Pentagon leaders, urging them to do their jobs and use the National Guard on January 6th, and the Pentagon leaders ignored those directives?
I don't know all about that. I just know he didn't tell people to go home for about 3 hours, and during those 3 hours, the one person who got killed, she probably wouldn't have gotten killed if Trump would have told him to go home instead of go to the Capitol.
Ashley Babbitt, the unarmed veteran. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, he told everybody to go there peacefully and patriotically.
Yeah, but also everybody there was already ready to hang my pants, as they say.
Can I tell you why I don't think that Donald Trump was in charge of an insurrection, or why he didn't create that situation?
Yes, sir.
Because if he wanted to, he could have. Yeah. If he put out a message on Twitter and said, I need every firefighter, police officer, veteran that loves this country to come down here, we're taking back the government, they would have. They would have. Well, and the simple fact that he didn't do that leads me to believe that he did not lead an insurrection. And then when you see the documents coming out, like these documents in transcripts showing President Trump's directives to Pentagon leaders to keep January 6th safe and how they were deliberately ignored, it seems more and more like it was a scheme against Donald Trump and against the American people, Jeremiah.
Well, when Donald Trump was talking about Tim Walz back before he became vice president, he said Tim Walz called him, was worried that people was flying American flags and MAGA flags outside, and that he was worried he was going to get hurt.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to put you on hold. I want to get back to you after the break with news. I have that Tim Walz clip, and I'll play it as well. It's 11:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're tracking the potential for storms starting today. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Mideast wars are raging on, and now the Associated Press reporting the Pentagon has announced it will send additional troops to the region amid escalation between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel is conducting extensive strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, according to the Israeli military today. That follows a weekend that saw the two sides exchange the most intense fire since the war in Gaza began. Manhunt in Alabama. Officials searching for the gunman who opened fire on a crowd of people Saturday night, killing 4, wounding more than a dozen others. Stephanie Ramos is in Birmingham with details.
Authorities say multiple suspects jumped out of a vehicle, opening fire on a group standing outside, and then ran off. Investigators now say they believe the firearms involved in the shooting were converted to fully automatic using a so-called gun switch. damage. Around 100 shell casings collected at the scene.
Crime, a big issue on the campaign trail, and the FBI says violent crime dropped last year, according to Brian Clark with the details.
The FBI says the 11.6% decrease in murders from 2022 to 2023 was the largest single-year drop on record and part of an overall decrease of violent crime by 3%. Since 2021, murders have gone down in the U.S. by more than 17%, but two crimes that saw increases in 2023, motor vehicle theft and hate crimes.
Yeah, here in Nashville, Metro Police reported data in July that claimed most violent crimes in Nashville and Davidson County were down from last year, while all categories of property crime were on the rise. Violent crime is composed of 4 offenses: homicide, rape, aggravated assault, and robbery. The data Metro Police put out showed a total of 4,456 violent crimes reported by June 29th of last year. 4,154 reported by June 29th last year. That's 302 fewer violent crimes reported between the first half of this year compared to last. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
11:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, Instagram, at Chris Hand on air. Did I say it's Super Talk 99.7 WTN? No, well, I just did. So perfect. We got a good caller, and I love that these guys call in. Jeremiah from Cookeville. Jeremiah texts all the time, and he's very anti-Trump. I appreciate him calling in because I don't want it to be an echo chamber. And we were talking about January 6th. And January 6th was the defining moment where you became a never-Trumper, correct?
Yes, sir.
So how much, where have you gotten the majority of your information on January 6th, Jeremiah?
Really, it's just from me watching it. I watched it live that day. I knew something was going to happen. And you said that Trump could have called out a lot more people. He could have. But he saw that the people was already upset, ready to riot, and told them to go to the Capitol. And
but you're leaving out two words: peacefully and patriotically, and let your voices be heard. He didn't say come out of the gate swinging. And I think it's also important to point out that no one at that rally was armed.
Wasn't they talking about getting rid of the metal detectors because they saw people armed?
No.
Okay. I guess that's misinformation then. But they said that Tim Walz was worried about all the MAGA people and United States flags around.
Yep.
And Trump called them off because he didn't want Tim Walz to get hurt.
I have that clip right here. This is from Trump on Gutfeld. I'll play it for you.
He called up years ago. I was in the White House, and he said, my house is being surrounded by people with American flags. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He said, I think they're going to attack me. But this was during the riots and everything else. They were MAGA people. You know, they like the American flag, all right? And they also had Trump. And I said, how do you know? There were about 15,000. He said, could you put out a word like that I'm your friend? I don't even know him, but that's the only time I ever spoke to him. And if you look back long ago, tweets, before Truth, tweets, long ago, I put out a statement. He's a good man, the governor. He's on our side. I didn't know him, but I didn't want him to get hurt. And everybody put down their flags and they left. Yes. He said it was a miracle.
So I guess what's wrong with what happened there?
Well, like you said, he put out a tweet. Everybody went home. He could have done the same thing on January 6th.
Well, he did. He put out a video on January 6th asking people to go home.
Yeah, but it was after they was already at the Capitol for 3 hours. But you asked me why Kamala. I would like for our economy to keep going in the direction it's going. And I would like for the crime to stay as low as it's been in what they say 50 years.
Yeah, but you know that's not true, Jeremiah. Like, major cities have stopped reporting their crime statistics to the FBI.
Well, I know. I believe they said
it's really easy to make it look like crime's going down when major blue cities just aren't sending in their data to the FBI.
I believe what I read said 87% sent in statistics. I don't know. But also gas is low. That helps. But as for the crime, I believe you hear more on the news and you see more because everybody got phones. I do believe the crime rate has dropped.
You believe the crime rate has dropped?
I just think we hear more about it because everybody has a phone and a camera now.
So you're fully believing that crime is better now?
Yeah. From all the important crime statistics like murder, rape, stuff like that, I do believe it's down.
I'm not sure how you can believe that when, like, you can see with your own eyes in our own communities, even here in Middle Tennessee, things are getting worse.
See, to me, it's about the same as it always has been. 30 years ago, you just didn't hear about all this crime because you didn't see it on your news every afternoon.
Well, 30 years ago, we also weren't, flying in immigrants from Venezuelan prisons to take over apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado.
I don't believe that you can blame the that much crime on immigrants, I'm sure it's a big part of it.
How much immigrant crime are you willing to accept?
Whatever, I'd say, what's the word I'm looking for? For however many immigrants are coming in, their percentage of people are committing crime probably at the same rate as other people that commit crime.
So how much illegal immigrant crime are you willing to accept, like percentage-wise? Out of all the illegal aliens coming in, how many are you okay to be criminals?
None, really.
Okay, no, that's a good starting point. I too want none to be criminals, but you get that way by securing the border, by reinstating Remain in Mexico, by building the wall. All of these things that the Harris-Biden regime have thrown out the window. The Harris-Biden regime stands in the way of Texas protecting their own border via lawsuits when it comes to the barriers on the Rio Grande, the razor wire and Eagle Pass. I mean, we can go down the line.
Did they have a bill that they tried to pass that Republicans came up with, and Donald Trump said, no, don't pass it?
Yes. And what that would have done is it would have let in millions of illegal aliens every year before we could act on anything.
You mean it would let in millions more?
It would let in...
What's already coming in?
It would change the threshold so that way millions could come in before they could act.
Well, wouldn't it be less than what's coming in now?
How much are you willing to accept? How many illegal immigrants do you want?
Well, I say try fixing the problem the best you can until a better solution come along.
Well, that's what we did. That's what we did 2016 to 2021, and then Biden and Harris got in, and they signed 93 executive orders to dismantle the Trump-era policies, and then this is when it went off the rails.
I agree. Trump probably wouldn't let in any immigrants if he had the choice.
Well, I think he would let in legal immigrants and people that want to do it the right way.
I agree. I believe they should. Legal immigration is the way to go. I don't know about people coming from Haiti and these places, how bad it is there.
Well, I'll tell you what, with Haiti, it's so bad that American citizens are being advised by the State Department not to visit there.
Yeah, and that's why they're coming here.
They're flying them into Springfield, Ohio.
Yes, they are. That bill that would have passed would at least have helped the situation some.
No, it wouldn't have. Those flights would have still continued. The magnetization would have still continued.
Didn't they try to have money in that bill that would have had it where they've been screened better?
No, they would have processed them quicker.
Processed them quicker. But I would assume that would include a background check.
No, I mean, a lot of these countries that they're coming from, there's no paperwork associated with it. And if you go down to the border, you can find discarded passports and identification cards littered among the border because they're coming through and they realize if they don't have the paperwork, then they get in quicker.
Yeah, I believe that.
Jeremiah, man, you seem like a good guy. I think that you need to try and get out of your own echo chamber and do some more research on your candidates, please.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hey, man, appreciate you. Kenneth in Nashville also would you consider yourself a Democrat, Kenneth?
I consider myself an independent.
Okay. But Kenneth, you were also texting me and telling me the error of my ways, and I asked you to call in, and I appreciate you doing so. So where am I off, Kenneth?
Well, you were talking about January 6th, and you said that if Trump wanted to make that happen, because you was defending him, said he had nothing to do with it. And I'm like, no, he wouldn't have came out blatantly and did that. He scheduled that rally and all that happened. He scheduled on January 6th because he knew what was happening at the Capitol. Of course, he's going to say march down there peacefully. But when they didn't, he took way too long to act to stop these guys. Those was not Democrats that was storming the Capitol. Those were Republicans, and it was not right.
Well, and I think you can make the argument that there were a lot of feds in the crowd, Antifa in the crowd as well. But to your point, what do you think about these new transcripts showing President Trump's directives to Pentagon leadership were being deliberately ignored? He wanted the National Guard in there. What about the audio of Nancy Pelosi saying, I take responsibility for not having the National Guard in there? Is all of that out the window because he wanted an insurrection?
No, that is not out the window. And like I say, it was failures on both parts. But the main thing is that storming of the Capitol was not Democrat people. Those were Republicans. And they might have had some mixed in there because, all that stuff comes into play. But Trump could have stopped it. I'm not against Donald Trump. Like I say, I'm an independent. I live in Tennessee, so we know our state is red. But so I'm not against all his policies. Some of his policies are good. Some of the Democrats' policies are good. So I'm not just for one side altogether. It's good on both sides, old Trump saying. But he could have stopped that insurrection, and he doesn't have clean hands, is what I was saying to you.
See, I just disagree. I think he went down there for a speech. People were rightfully pissed off because they felt like an election had been stolen from them. You can make arguments that the election was stolen. You can make arguments that the 51 intelligence officers, former intelligence agents that signed the letter saying the laptop was disinfo was election interference. You can make the argument that the social media companies just putting their thumb on the scale with information being able to be disseminated was election interference. Do people that are upset?
Let me say this though, Chris.
Yeah, cool.
Can I say this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, with all the interference and you're saying, Trump took all this stuff to court, and none of the courts, and they were Republican judges, held up this thing that the election was stolen and all that. All of them got thrown out, and they wasn't just Democrat-appointed judges. What do you have to say?
Well, I say that those judges were cowards, and none of them wanted to hear the case on. They didn't want to hear the cases. They didn't look into the cases at all. They just didn't. They said they had no standing and moved on. I think they.
Really?
I think they were cowards. Yeah, I do.
So you think Donald Trump has clean hands in all of this, or is that the election was stolen and he had nothing to do with January 6th? Is that what you're saying, Chris?
I'm saying that Donald Trump did not incite an insurrection on January 6th. Yes.
Okay. Well, like I said, I text in. I love the station, and sometimes we agree to disagree. But, yes, he doesn't have clean hands. I think he could have did more to stop it. Nancy Pelosi should have had more security if they knew about this. I don't know all this planning and the rallies and how to come together, but it was a whole lot of people there. So
I would make the argument that if Donald Trump is behind the scenes arguing for National Guard to be in place, if he's bringing it to Pentagon leadership and being deliberately ignored, then yeah, Donald Trump does have clean hands.
Okay, that's your position. Like I said, no, like if he wanted it to stop,
who are you voting
he didn't
for?
Want January the 6th.
Kenneth, who are you voting for in November?
I haven't decided yet because, like I said, I liked when Donald Trump was in. I liked his policy. He had the money good, but then there was some stuff that I didn't like as much. And far as what's going on now, I don't like the border just being open. There's too many coming across. And like I said, there should be no illegals. There should be, everybody should come legally. I don't have nothing against Mexico or Mexicans or whoever's coming across the border, but
Haitians, Venezuelans, Chinese, Pakistanis, Egyptians, Sudanese.
Yeah, I'm not with them. Yeah, I'm not with none of them coming across illegal. Like I said, I did 20 years in the Army and retired.
They appreciate your service.
Desert Storm's dead. So
hey, I appreciate your service, Kenneth, man, and call in again, okay?
All right, thank you, Chris.
All right, appreciate you, man. It's 11:52 on Super Talk. We're going to check in with Murphy next. See what's coming up on Murphy's Show on 99.7 WTN. 11:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Matt Murphy in studio. What do you got coming up on the show today, Matt?
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm good.
Pleasantries. Did you know, have you heard that it's over?
It's over.
Oh, yeah. Over the weekend, many of the mainstream media outlets wanted to point to that NBC poll to explain to us that this is over.
Oh.
It's 42 days to go, and it's just over. So,
it's done. Then why is Kamala begging for another debate?
I'm not really sure as to why they seem so desperate, but it's over.
Oh.
And everyone needs to know that. That's what we're going to start the show with. You just need to understand that conservatives, Republicans, you libertarians out there, you just need to stay home because it's over. We've reached to that stage in the stupidity of this political season. So that's going to start off the show. I'm going to talk a little about this transit tax in Nashville that's not getting a lot of attention because I don't think the people of Davidson County are in favor of new taxes that are permanent and never ending. But I want to get a sense of where Davidson County people are.
If I know anything about the folks in Davidson County, they love new taxes that are permanent and never end.
I feel like Davidson County is a lot like California, though. That because there's 47 million people in California, the 15 million that are Republican get left behind. And I feel like there's a lot of those Republicans in Davidson County that are being left behind. So we'll talk a little about that, too.
Perfect. Murphy's on his way in. Don't forget, October 1st, big vice presidential debate watch party, Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. Murphy's going to be there. Myself, Mandis, Wilson doing his entire show out there. It's going to be a blast. 99.7 WTN.com for the details.